embattled New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez has pleaded not guilty for a third time in an alleged bribery scheme. He and his wife just left a New York courtroom after being arraigned on a dozen new felony charges. They include new charges of bribery, extortion, and obstruction. And as he faces accusations, he corruptly worked with the governments of Egypt and Qatar. The Democrat and one-time powerful chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee continues to maintain his innocence, calling the charges, quote, a flagrant abuse of power. CNN's Jason Carroll is live outside the courthouse. Jason, what's the latest?
Well, as you know, Manu, this is a senator who has said all along this is just the government's efforts to try to get at him, to go after him. He said nothing outside court when he was entering, when he was leaving. Once he was inside court, when he was asked to enter a plea, he told the judge once again, not guilty, Your Honor. He is now facing, and his wife now facing, 18 counts, including conspiracy, acting as a foreign agent, bribery, extortion, and wire fraud. As you know, he was already facing bribery charges. These new charges, prosecutors are alleging that the bribery allegations that we've all been hearing about, that in terms of when they said that they were receiving money, for example, for a mortgage on a new home, money for a brand new Mercedes. Once they found out, prosecutors say that they were under investigation, they tried to make it out that that money wasn't a bribe. They said it was a loan. Not true, according to prosecutors. They're also alleging in the superseding indictment that Senator Menendez and his wife made false statements to their attorneys, and then their attorneys in turn made misleading statements to U.S. attorneys when they had interviews with them last year. The senator, for his part, Manu, saying the following: it says that the prosecutors are afraid of the facts, scared to subject their charges to the fair-minded scrutiny of a jury. It says once and for all that they will stop at nothing in their zeal to get at me. So for right now, new charges. The trial is scheduled to happen May 6th as scheduled.
Yeah, May 6th. He's been defiant all along. We'll see what happens when it goes to trial in just a matter of weeks. All right, Jason Carroll, thanks for that report. My great panel is back. Now, look, all this is happening. He's still a member of the Democratic caucus. He still gets classified briefings. I've asked him about that multiple times. He said it is his right as a senator to do so. And he's faced resignation calls from most of the Democratic caucus, including one of the most outspoken members of the Democratic caucus, John Fetterman, who I caught up with last week about Menendez.
And it's been clear that my colleagues want to keep him around. And now we have his trial in less than 2 months, and that's going to handle it.
I mean, what does it say about this institution that he's still serving in here?
I don't know what it says, other than that they guess they're just okay with having a sleazeball in the Senate.
Now, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, we've asked him repeatedly, including last week, why is this okay with you? All he would say, it says, is, I'm deeply disappointed in his conduct and nothing else. Why hasn't Schumer gone as far as the rest of his colleagues have in trying to, at least calling on him to resign?
Well, traditionally, members who are indicted, criminal charges, in the House particularly, they lose committee assignments. He hasn't lost this here, but they can remain members. And of course, Menendez went through this before, and he ended up being acquitted. He got his job back. He got his post back on foreign relations.
Much different case. But yes.
Much different case, but he rolled right, allegedly, if you're the government, if Justice Party, he rolled right from that into this current corruption scheme. Now, like Schumer got beat up over this last week. Reporters were pressing him. He's not only on foreign relations, on a national security task force, which is kind of, why is he doing this? Look, Schumer got beat.
Yes.
So, I mean, look, he has the right to go in front of a jury and present his case, but there is pressure to have for him to resign. But leadership is never going to do. They're never going to do it. Schumer's never going to do it.
Meantime, obviously, Menendez has issues back home and how voters view his legal troubles. Just from the differences Brez was mentioning about the 2015 indictment and 2023 indictment. Back then, 47% of New Jersey voters thought he was probably guilty. Now, 75% in this current one, and over majority, 63%, say he should resign versus back then 28%. And this, of course, comes as He has not said if he's going to run for re-election. The speculation is that expectation is that he will not run for re-election. But even if he were, his poll numbers are anemic right now back home in the race to succeed him. Congressman Kim, who's running in that race, and Tammy Murphy, who is the First Lady of New Jersey, both running well ahead of him. How do you see this? Obviously, this is not going well for him back home.
Right.
But he's saying he's not going to resign. Running for re-election, that was a different story.
Right, and he has, I believe, 2 weeks from today to figure out whether he is going to run for re-election or not. And those poll numbers are so fascinating because we remember, we all covered the political issues surrounding his first indictment. And what was fascinating at the time is that you had so many of his local politicians standing by him through these charges, which is one of the reasons why he was able to emerge from it politically fairly successfully. I mean, I remember Cory Booker stood by his side.
Yeah.
He is not doing so in this case. And in this time, perhaps because of the severity of the charges, he has lost almost all political support from New Jersey and in Washington. And I think it'll be difficult for him to run for re-election, but we'll see in a couple of weeks.